Hello and welcome to my video lesson 4.5 on solving rational expressions. Alright, so with this video we're going to be just reminding you guys how to do this part. Basically there are a few things to remember from before. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide expressions as normal with NPVs. This is key. Whoops, that was weird. With NPVs, this is key because if it's an NPV, it's not a value of X. Alright. Factoring when possible, combining like terms when possible, simplifying when possible, and only simplifying after you find your NPVs. So this happens first. So NPVs happen first, okay? So that's the first step, basically doing everything you know. The second step is to actually solve, to get the variable on top and by itself. You likely we'll need to simplify after adding or multiplying. And if you can't get the variables alone, get a 0 to one side and factor to solve for the variable. Yeah. So let's get started on one of these. So our first question here, we actually can't factor. We can't combine like terms, and we can't simplify very much, or at all right now. So at this point, all we can do is skip to our NPVs, which is that x cannot equal 2. The reason why is if x is 2, this denominator goes to 0, and we cannot have that. Alright, so let's take a look at the next step, which is to get the variable on top of the fraction. So we're going to move the denominators up, and another way to say this is cross multiply. So what we're going to do is we're going to get x plus 2, x minus 2 equals 2 times 6. And so if we multiply those out, we're going to get x squared minus 4 equals 12. And so at this point, there are two different methods. I'm going to go with my favorite method, which would be to go like this. So when we move the 12 over, we're going to get a negative 12, so it's going to be x squared minus 16 equals 0. And so now we can go and factor it like perfect squares. So just like this. And once we have that, we can say that x equals negative 4 or positive 4. And then we just double check that it isn't one of the NPVs, and it isn't, so it's actually okay. So that is one good method to solve for this. The other way is actually to, instead of taking the 12 and moving it over, take the 4 and move it over, the negative 4. And so if we do that, we're going to get x squared equals 16. And so now we can go square root on both sides, and then we get square root of 16. And we can say x equals 4. Now, actually, it also equals negative 4. So let's think about this. Why is that the case? Well, if we have negative 4 times by negative 4, what do we get? We get 16. If we have 4 times 4, we also get 16. So both of those are values of the square root of 16. Just like our blue option, our purple option works perfectly well as well. Alright, so let's take a look at another question here. I recommend you please pause the video at this point, try this question, and see if you can get it. Okay, at this point, hopefully you've solved the question. I'm going to go through and solve it for you now as well. So first step, factor, simplify as much as possible. So here we have 2x squared over, if we take out a 2, then we'd be, x squared minus 36. On the other side, we can take out a 3, so we get x squared, x plus 6. And we can go one further because we have a difference of squares on the denominator on the left. So we can go x plus 6, x minus 6. And on the right, we get 1 over 3, x plus 6. Okay, at this point, we want to label our NPVs. We've simplified as much as possible, factored as much as possible. So x cannot equal a negative 6 or a positive 6. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to move the denominators on top, like this. So we're going to go and have, and we can also cross out or cancel out the two denominator parts that are equal or the same. So x plus 6 is on both sides, so we can cross that out. So we're actually going to be left with 3x equals 2x minus 12. And so if we move the 2 over to the other side, it's currently positive, so it's going to be negative. So we're going to be left with a positive x and 12, and that is our final answer. And it's not one of the NPVs, so it's good to go. Alright, I hope this video helped you understand solving rational expressions, and good luck.